3 past 6 o'clock. Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Erin out again today. Back on Monday, Matt has local news. And quite the tribulation that was, I understand. He'll fill us in. The guest list today is absolutely amazing. And speaking of amazing, do not miss the first segment. That's all I'm going to tell you. Just wait. It is worth it. Fletcher in sports and traffic and weather, and it's all here this hour, and it's coming up on KEEL.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
DeSoto Parish Sheriff Rodney Arbuckle has announced his retirement effective today. Arbuckle has been in law enforcement for over 3 decades, including spending the last 17 years as sheriff of DeSoto Parish. In a statement, Arbuckle says that his son is now practicing law in the area, including criminal cases, and does not want any appearance of conflict of interest. Chief Deputy Jason Richardson will be appointed sheriff as soon as Arbuckle retires. Gunshots interrupt a high school lacrosse game in Shreveport. According to police, a gunfight took place near Caddo Parish Magnet High School. A Pontiac Grand Am was struck by bullets and ultimately crashed into a light pole close to the school's campus. Police have detained one juvenile that may be connected to the shooting, but are searching for several other suspects. With the future of TOPS in doubt due to Louisiana's fiscal cliff, one local college is vowing to honor all awards for the 2018-2019 school year. Centenary College says that they will honor the full top scholarship amount for any prospective and current students, regardless of what the legislature does during the regular session. This is the 3rd consecutive year the Shreveport University has committed to honor top scholarships, despite cuts to the program by the Louisiana legislature. Saints and Pelicans owner Tom Benson has passed away at the age of 90. Benson bought the Saints in 1985 after building a car dealership and real estate empire that started in San Antonio and expanded to his hometown in New Orleans. When the team went up for sale in 1984, then Governor Edwin Edwards says he had one priority, finding a buyer who would keep the team in town, and he found that man in Benson.
And he assured me that if he did buy it, the team would stay in New Orleans. And he kept his word, as he told me he would. The team has remained in New Orleans, been a great asset to the city and the state.
Edwards says he considered Benson a friend, and the two worked together to make the team a staple of Louisiana culture. A dog's death has spurred action from one Louisiana senator. Don Molino has more.
The U.S. Department of Transportation reports 24 animals died last year while in the care of major U.S. airlines. Senator John Kennedy says that's too many, and he's co-sponsored a bill to try and end that. A dog on a United flight died Monday after it was put in an overhead bin, and Kennedy wants answers.
I'd like a written explanation first, but if it's not adequate, I'm going to go see the appropriate committee chairman and ask that hearings be held.
Lamar White is publisher of the Bayou Brief.
He was just looking for headlines, and it's worked. He was on CBS Nightly News last night. He was on CNN, been able to suck a lot of oxygen out because of this bill.
I'm Don Molino.
Shreveport Senator John Milkovich's legislation that would give teachers more freedom to decide how to handle bullies in public school passed through the Senate Education Committee. The bill gives teachers a wide leniency to, quote, take all steps deemed necessary to stop bullying, including involving the police and personally restraining offending students. Milkovich says it would cut down on the red tape involved in stopping bullies. Shreveport police have issued an arrest warrant for a man they believe to be connected with a near-fatal stabbing. Damian Updike is wanted for attempted first-degree murder after 2 women suffered life-threatening wounds during a violent stabbing in the wee hours of Tuesday morning. Brian Todd has already been apprehended for his part of the violent encounter. Police say they are also searching for a 3rd man who may have been involved. A Louisiana man has been sentenced to 30 years in prison for manslaughter in the road rage death of former NFL running back Joe McKnight. 56-year-old Ronald Gasser received his sentence after McKnight's mother tearfully confronted him in court on Thursday. The 56-year-old killed the 28-year-old McKnight in 2016. McKnight had played for the Jets and the Chiefs. A grand jury indicted 4 people on charges in the death of a Louisiana State University student whose blood alcohol content was more than 6 times the legal limit for driving. The state grand jury issued the indictments Thursday, 6 months after the death of 18-year-old Max Groover. For 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Nine past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. It is time for First off, Friday morning traffic. Here's Ruben.
Looks like I-49 South's got to clear all the way to Alexandria right now, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-220 westbound near North Market due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast calls for clouds today with a shower or a heavy thunderstorm. The high 82, partly cloudy, low 63 tonight. Another thunder shower tomorrow morning, then partly sunny and warm, high 84. With your AccuWeather.com forecasts, I'm Bill Degger.
Ooh, the show's on. Showtime. What movie is that? Roy Scheider. Wait a second. Where he plays Bob Fosse. And it's the loosely based biography. Showtime.
You got me. First thing that pops in
all that jazz.
Oh.
Hey, have you ever seen it?
No.
Sort of an existential musical. It's weird, but it ain't bad.
See, my brain went to The Mask with Jim Carrey, where he goes, "It's showtime."
It was good. 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Miss Erin away today, back on Monday. Mm-hmm. I have been looking on her Facebook page regarding her trip to North Carolina. I hope she takes lots of photos and shows them to us. She's on the North Carolina coast, and it looks like an amazingly beautiful place, and I hope she brings back lots of pics.
You know that's not going to happen, but wishful thinking.
Yeah, you're right. In the scheme, let's see. We started on KEEL. You're what, producer number 3?
I believe so,
I
yeah.
think so. We started on KEEL in March of 2014. It has been 4 years, the end of this month. Since you've been here, since you've been our producer a little more than 2 years, yesterday's interview between 7 and 7:30, 7:10, 7:30, with Stephen Weigesback. Top 5, easily top 10.
Easily top 5, I would say. I mean,
You
there's a
think
few
so?
other ones that might be in contention, but easily top 5.
Why? Tell me why.
He was just on fire. He made great points. He didn't ramble on. You know, everything you look for in an interview from our standpoint, he nailed. Plus, the content that he was just spitting out was amazing.
The content was amazing.
Yeah.
And Stephen Weigesback is the president and CEO of the Louisiana Association for Business and Industry. And we started off talking about the session, the regular session, the special session. I mean, we covered. You know what wasn't one of the most interesting things he said was, businesses in Louisiana are tired of being blamed. Businesses in Louisiana are tired of being told by politicians that the budget problems that this state has are their fault because they, meaning the businesses, are not giving enough of their money to Louisiana. And then the other fascinating thing to me was not only talking about, and he's 100% for, despite the risk of a constitutional convention. He says the way government is set up in Louisiana does not benefit Louisiana or Louisianans, which brought us to Texas. And I have said forever, my go-to line is, what does Texas do that we don't, we should start? What do we in Louisiana do that Texas doesn't do that we should quit? And he talks about in this was the second segment, and he talks about the way that government in Louisiana is set up, i.e. Baton Rouge-centric, versus the state of Texas, locally, the priority, most of the money in Texas stays local. And that's where we start out. I said, do we have to compete with Texas? What does Texas do right that we do wrong?
Know your competition, right? That's the number one rule of any business or enterprise. And our competition's Texas, whether we like it or not. So we got to start beating them if we want to grow. And in Texas, look, let me tell you, when I talk to companies, whether they're here in Louisiana or I'm trying to recruit them here, the first thing they tell me is like, look, we're looking between you and Texas. And let me tell you the difference. They say, Wags, in Texas, we go sit down with the county executives and the local economic development officials, and we work a deal there, and we come in, and we know what we're going to get. In Louisiana, we go hire lobbyists and run to the Capitol. That is embarrassing.
Hold on. Say that.
Embarrassing.
Let's repeat. I apologize, but let's repeat that for everybody and say it slowly so you can understand. The power in Louisiana is based
in about 4 hallways in the Capitol. And in Texas, that's not the way it works. In Texas, the governor, look, it's a nice role, and I'm sure they've got certain duties, but they are not the kingmaker in Texas. The counties are the kingmakers. And business knows it. Everyone knows it. Working families know it. They go to the counties for solutions there.
In other words, in the state of Texas, 15, 10, 8, 6 miles that way, whatever.
As the crow flies right across the street.
Is you are dealing when you want to start a business, when you have a problem, when you're paying your taxes, is that you are in fact dealing with your friends and neighbors.
That's right. That's right. And you're going to see the local official that's using your dollars in the Walmart, at the pharmacy, at the ball field. You can hold them accountable. You can pull their elbow. In Louisiana, the people making the decisions with your money, they're on the other side of the state. You may or may not ever see them in your lifetime. How do you hold that person accountable?
How did we get like that? Give me a little history lesson.
Well, in the 20s, obviously Huey was elected, but he was one of several governors back then who consolidated all the power at the Capitol. And so that's where it's always been. The patronage, the power, all that good stuff is at the Capitol. And in 73, we had a constitutional convention, which basically put a moat and a brick wall around that consolidated power. And so now what we live with is a power that's structured in 4 hallways in the Capitol and a constitution that protects it from ever being challenged.
When you say the 4 hallways, tell me what you mean.
Well, the upstairs, downstairs. The downstairs hallways between the House and the Senate, and upstairs on the 4th floor where the governor lives, that is where everything that has to happen in Louisiana flows through. And look, I live in those hallways, so I understand the value of it. And there's good people trying their best in there, but this system is bankrupt, and we have got to consolidate down to the local level and get it out of the Capitol. You can send all the good people you want to the Capitol. It's a flawed system that must be replaced.
Why would anybody, specifically if you're the governor of Louisiana, I mean, I just don't see John Bell Edwards coming out, walking out for a press conference tomorrow and going, I've been thinking about
too much power. It's time to give it back.
I've got too much juice. Despite my best intentions,
no, it's going to have to be a citizen-led movement.
Screwing stuff up.
It's going to have to be a citizen-led movement, and every now and then we have those in Louisiana. I would argue in '87 when Romer was elected, state couldn't pay its bills. There was a citizen-led movement. I would say in the days after Katrina and Rita, there was a citizen-led movement. I think we're on the verge of another one, and it might be 19, it might be the term after that, but at some point, people are going to get sick and tired of the Capitol every year just shaming and blaming everyone outside the Capitol and saying that's the only solution to anything. That dog doesn't hunt anymore. People want to have more visibility and trust in government, and I think you can only do that at the local level, not necessarily the state level.
So you're going to Margaritaville from here this morning? You got to be there at 8 o'clock, right?
Absolutely.
Damn, because we could do another half hour so easy. Is that what you're going to tell them, or are you going to say, Louisiana's broken, I don't know I got a fix for it, but it's not coming out of Baton Rouge?
I think that the hunt for a short-term fix, look, we're going to patch it together the best we can, and we're going to be as responsible as we can. But the long-term fix, I think, has to be a convention. And if a constitutional convention has to be filled with average, everyday people running for that to be a delegate. If we just put a bunch of legislators in the convention, we're not doing ourselves any favor. We have to have average, everyday people running to be a delegate in the convention and have them put some real common sense into the new Constitution.
So in wrapping up, even though in your mind a constitutional convention is, like I said, be careful what you wish for, it certainly would be rolling the governmental dice. But in your mind, things are so broken in Louisiana, it would be worth the risk.
Absolutely.
19 past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel traffic time.
Everything's still running nice and smooth for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Airline Drive in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast calls for the threat of a heavy thunderstorm today, otherwise mostly cloudy, high 82. Partly to mostly cloudy, low 63 tonight. Thunder shower to start tomorrow, then cloudy and warm, high 84. With your AccuWeather.com forecasts, I'm Bill Degger.
Twenty-two past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel Sports.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Tom Benson, the owner of the New Orleans Saints and Pelicans, died Thursday at the age of 90. He was admitted into the hospital last month with flu symptoms that reportedly included pneumonia. Benson bought the Saints for $70 million on May 31st, 1985. He added the Pelicans to his holdings in 2012. According to multiple reports, Mr. Benson's widow, Gail, has been approved by the NFL and NBA as the owner of the Saints and Pelicans. Sam Burns is tied for 13th after one round of the Arnold Palmer Invitational on the PGA Tour, 5 shots off the lead. The 21-year-old Calvary alum bogeyed his first 2 holes but rallied nicely. The Mudbugs face Odessa tonight and tomorrow night on Georges Pond inside Hirsch Coliseum. The puck drops at 7:11 p.m. On the diamond, LSU opens SEC play tonight against Missouri. First pitch at Alex Box Stadium, 6:30. And in the NCAA tournament, 13th-seeded Buffalo waxed 4th-seeded Arizona in the biggest upset of the day. The SEC started strong. Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, and Florida all won. Missouri, Auburn, Arkansas, and Texas A&M play today. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
It's not that I'm not trying to talk. I'm trying to think of something I saw last night. Because we're always looking for good bumper music. And I heard something on the end of, it was the end of a movie, and I can't think of what it was now. It was later in the night, and I was only half paying attention to the TV. I was doing a million things.
Happens to the best of us.
No, it only happens to me because I'm old. 625, it's 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Erin back Monday. Okay, guest list for this morning at about 10 past 7 o'clock is outgoing DeSoto Parish School Superintendent Cade Brumley. Do I have to give you the pat on the back? Do you get the kudos? Do you get the...
I'm mad at Cade.
Huh?
I'm mad at Cade.
For what?
Well, I called him, and then he calls you.
Well, he texted me back. But here was the deal.
I tried to act like a real producer and just go around me.
And you did. No, he went around you. I didn't.
I know. I'm not blaming you.
What do we say? You know, I'm the shield. In the NFL, they say protect the shield. I don't know how to break this to you. I like it or not, I'm the shield.
I was trying to protect the shield.
And I appreciate that. You know. So, look, you can lambaste Cade when he comes in.
Oh, I will.
And he had said in one of our previous, like off the air, he had said, I want to be sure and get in for one more day and hang out with you guys before I got to take off. And as the day that he will begin his new position as superintendent in Jefferson Parish, what's the time frame on that now? I mean, he can tell us, but what's the latest?
I don't have the story open in front of me, but after, they approved his salary and all that, they set a starting date of, I believe it's March 26th.
Wow,
within 2 weeks.
The fact that he has time to spend 30 minutes or so with us this morning in studio is pretty darn nice.
Well, I mean, what else has he got?
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, he can't really do too much here. They already got a replacement for him. He can't work down there.
He's got nowhere to go, so we're it. It's us or Waffle House.
Yeah.
It's us or hunting for shorts at Walmart like an old guy. You're right. Cade, you're welcome. 27 past 6 o'clock. Also on the way this morning, Saints owner, what do you say about Tom Benson? He was the only...
he is the only man in the world to own 2 professional sports franchises in his hometown.
You know, and I'm watching all sort of the obits, the tributes, etc. And I'm thinking, look, I was a hell of a businessman. Got him a couple of stadiums and or arenas rent free. He was the state of Louisiana. We, with our tax dollars, are renting office space for him that is not being used. I mean, that was part of the deal. We will rent X number of square feet of office space, and it's so much that the state can't use it all. But that's not the point. You said, am I treading into a too soon area? All I said to Matt during the break is people tend to forget that if it weren't for Katrina,
they were gone.
It would be the San Antonio Saints. And I found an article from 2015. We'll cover this just a little bit later. Here we go. Here's if you ever, by the way, if you ever see in reference to the San Antonio area, it's Bexar County, but it's spelled Bexar. Just to give you guys a heads up, it's pronounced Bear.
So it's like Louisiana.
This is an article from NOLA.com in 2015, and it's basically sort of reviewing how close the Saints actually came to moving to San Antonio. And in retrospect, all these San Antonio / Bexar County officials are talking about how they feel, bluntly put, screwed by Tom Benson a decade later. I may be a little too cynical, but no one was ever truthful. Bexar County Judge Nelson Wolf said of pro sports teams that explored relocation to San Antonio. Not mentioning names, do we know who he means? They are not truthful with you. Bexar County Judge Nelson Wolf said of sports teams that explored relocation to San Antonio, his quote is, "They lie." As you know, after our escapades with the Saints, I am very distrustful of them all. 29 past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Matt, local news up next. Here's Ruben.
Looks like things are running nice and clear for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on North Market near North Hearn Avenue. If you have anything to report to us, accidents, hazards, or closures, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast calls for the threat of a heavy thunderstorm today, otherwise mostly cloudy, high 82. Partly to mostly cloudy, low 63 tonight. Thunder shower to start tomorrow, then cloudy and warm, high 84. With your AccuWeather.com forecasts, I'm Bill Degger.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
A big-budget Netflix movie will begin filming in Shreveport on Monday. The Highwaymen stars Kevin Costner and Woody Harrelson and chronicles the journey of two Texas Rangers on the hunt for Bonnie and Clyde. While the majority of the film was shot down south, locals in the film industry hope the big-budget project will give life to Northwest Louisiana's struggling film industry. Gunshots interrupt a high school lacrosse game in Shreveport. According to police, a gunfight took place near Caddo Parish Magnet High School last night. A Pontiac Grand Am was struck by bullets and ultimately crashed into a light pole close to the school's campus. Police have detained one juvenile that may be connected to the shooting, but are searching for several other suspects. DeSoto Parish Sheriff Rodney Arbuckle has announced his retirement effective today. Arbuckle has been in law enforcement for over 3 decades, including spending the last 17 years as sheriff of DeSoto Parish. In a statement, Arbuckle says that his son is now practicing law in the area, including criminal cases, and does not want any appearance of conflict of interest. Chief Deputy Jason Richardson will be appointed sheriff as soon as Arbuckle retires. 4 indicted in LSU hazing death. Jeff Palermo has that story.
Only one of them is facing a felony charge in the death of Maxwell Groover, and that's Matthew Nakan, who was indicted on negligent homicide. 3 others were indicted on a misdemeanor charge of hazing.
They don't face more than 30 days in jail on those hazing counts.
That's Loyola University law professor Dane Cialino, who says since grand jury proceedings are not public, it remains a mystery on why the panel declined to indict 5 other people that were presented to the jury.
The DA can certainly point to the grand jury as making these difficult charging decisions.
I'm Jeff Palermo.
Shreveport police have issued an arrest warrant for a man they believe to be connected with a near-fatal stabbing. Damian Updike is wanted for attempted first-degree murder after 2 women suffered life-threatening wounds during a violent stabbing in the wee hours of Tuesday morning. Brian Todd has already been apprehended for his part of the violent encounter. Police say they are also searching for a 3rd man who may have been involved in the stabbing. With the future of TOPS in doubt due to Louisiana's fiscal cliff, one local college is vowing to honor all awards for the 2018-2019 school year. Centenary College says they will honor the full TOPS scholarship amount regardless of what the legislature does during the regular session. This is the 3rd consecutive year the Shreveport University has committed to honor TOPS scholarships despite cuts to the program by lawmakers. Saints and Pelicans owner Tom Benson has passed away at the age of 90. Benson is the only person to ever own 2 professional sports teams in their hometown. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
.101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, 636. Outgoing. God, it sounds weird to say that. DeSoto Parish School Superintendent Cade Brumley in studio just after 7. Local attorney Jack Bailey going to talk tariffs and Donald Trump and how all that stuff, all this argument, all this arguing, and the Trump moves to institute tariffs to protect American business and workers, how all the Trump opponents are saying he's going to start a trade war. Well, what we're going to talk about in the 8 o'clock hour with Jackie is basically all these other countries have been fighting a trade war against us for more than a quarter of a century. We just haven't been fighting back. Now, what does that have to do with Shreveport? all the businesses, all the industry, all the manufacturing jobs that were here in 1980 or 85 or 90, some literally 20,000 of those that are now gone, are a result of us, our government, your government, not fighting for you, just giving it away, just giving away your jobs to foreign countries, and we're going to talk about why. God, here's something else, too, because we just saw about Louisiana minimum wage increase takes another step forward. It not really.
Nah, not exactly.
Governor John Bel Edwards is attempting for the third straight year to persuade Louisiana lawmakers to enact equal pay and minimum wage increase proposals. We'll get to this later in detail. What's John Bell want to go to? From 7.25
to 8.50.
To 8.50. So if and it's interesting that the proponents of minimum wage increases treat the people with minimum wage jobs as though that's the only job they'll ever have, as though it's not a stepping stone for young people, which is in the vast, vast, vast majority of cases. But they're looking at those minimum wage jobs, those entry-level positions, as though it's people with families of 4 trying to buy a house in Broadmoor on a McDonald's salary. And that just ain't the case. And the irony is, we talked about it earlier this week. I think you made the point that on one hand, one of the things they have brought up that the governor is pushing in the regular legislative session is to make it easier. We need to eliminate regulation and rules.
And red tape was one of the key words.
And make it easier for businesses in Louisiana to operate and function and succeed. And yet at the same time, he wants to mandate added costs for those businesses. 639, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Speaking of businesses, the Toys R Us saga. I'm just going to turn this over to Parkey. Wait until, and it may be, I'm going to run out of stager here, and the point he makes may in fact be applicable to your business. Here's Ruben, traffic update.
Everything's still running nice and smooth for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Airline Drive in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast calls for the threat of a heavy thunderstorm today, otherwise mostly cloudy, high 82. Partly to mostly cloudy, low 63 tonight. Thunder shower to start tomorrow, then cloudy and warm, high 84. With your AccuWeather.com forecasts, I'm Bill Degger.
Okay, 642, it's 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. The Shreveport Security Systems text line is 318-392-1884. That's 318-392-1884. Okay, so a couple of days ago, Toys R Us is in Bossier out in front of the
mall.
Pierre Bossier Mall, right? On East Texas. And the story was originally that Toys R Us is closing all of its stores, like 800 around the country, close to 1,000 stores. Brick and mortar is the phrase everybody uses now. Brick and mortar locations that Toys R Us was going to close all 800 stores. And then there was an update yesterday morning, right around the time we were leaving the radio show, close to 9 o'clock, that they're going to they're going to close 200 now. Try to leave 200 open.
They're going to try, but it's not looking good. But I think they officially confirmed that no matter what happens, the one here in town is gone.
Okay, really?
Yeah.
So we were playing golf yesterday by the way, ask me how many times as of yesterday I've played golf in 2018.
How many times have you played?
Yesterday was the second. The weather has been so bad. And you're looking at at least once, usually twice a week guy. The weather has been so bad, so wet, so cold. Yesterday was the second time that I've taken to the links, Royal and Ancient Order of St. Quirby's, in 2018.
That's terrible.
So we're talking on the tee, 1, 2. It was on the fourth tee. And somebody brought that up. And somebody brought up the point I had made with you, and you refuted. Not totally refuted, but they said, well, just another, talking about Toys R Us closing across America. And the point was made there on the tee. I think it was John. He said, well, just another example of people buy stuff online. Amazon shutting places down. Amazon's killing places. And I had said practically, in fact, the same thing to you yesterday morning, or maybe a couple of days ago, right? And you kind of made the same noise that you made. You went, and I said, hold on, kiddo. You're telling me that in this instance, at least, there's more to this than just people aren't going to the store anymore, that this has to do more. This has to do the closings of 800 Toys R Us stores across America, or at least the great possibility, has to do with more than just online purchasing.
There's a lot to deal with. The world has changed a lot in the 70 years since Toys R Us has opened.
You said to me yesterday, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I quoted you yesterday with my friends in trying to explain this. And what I said was, Matt says, and I think this was about what you said. You said, to a great degree, Toys R Us problem is, they've got a lot of problems, as do a lot of businesses across the country, because this is an example. This is American retail in micro. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
And what you said was, Toys R Us big problem is that their business model was from 1975.
Yeah, it's sort of like the way you look at the state government. You know, Stephen Wagaspak says, hey, we got to have this constitutional convention because the last time we did it was 73, and things are really different since then. The same thing with business. Basically, adapt or die. The Toys R Us and several other big companies that are having trouble, like Sears, Roebuck, Kmart, those types of places, never updated their business plan.
What does that mean?
Well, they had these huge brick-and-mortar stores with large quantities of stock.
Massive inventory,
huge staffs, right? Yet the world changed where, you know, the stores that are succeeding and growing and thriving in the new environment with internet retail and stuff have an online presence. They have smaller stores with more special. Look at JCPenney's, for example. If you're into menswear, what do they have? Well, you know, we
talked about this yesterday.
We can't compete with Walmart. We can't compete with Amazon. We have to find our market.
I know we both know 2 or 3 men who are as well-dressed businessmen, and all 3 of them shop at JCPenney.
Exactly, because they realized, all right, we can't go for what Walmart's doing because they got that corner covered. You know, Amazon and some other online retailers do this sort of stuff. So where's our happy place? And they actually did market research, and they figured out what works. And you know, well, you know, people aren't really buying, dishwashers from us anymore. So let's just cut that back. We'll expand here. Like, they put in the work and the effort to figure out, okay, in this new changing world,
you got to find a niche.
You got to find your niche. And Toys R Us has kept the same business model.
Would it be fair to say that so many businesses rather, in the rapidly evolving digital age, that a lot of businesses don't know what they don't know?
That's fair. You and I both know businesses right off the top of our head that we could mention that they're expanding and they want to grow and do great things, yet they don't tell anybody about it.
I had mentioned this, and you gave me sort of this condescending pat on the head, like, that's right, little fella. And I said, in this day and age, that if you own a business, you are your own newspaper, in the sense that the daily's not going to cover. You are your own news outlet. You are your own daily newspaper. You are your own television station. To some
your
degree.
own Yellow Pages, too.
Yes.
Because back, 30 years ago, the first thing, I need a watch. So you go to, the Yellow Pages, you look it up. Now the first thing everybody does is grab their phone and Google Bossier Watch Store. If you don't have a functional Facebook page, if you're not keeping it updated with information, people don't know you exist because they're not looking at other places.
You have the opportunity to tell your own story, to promote your own product on whatever social. And you had said something to me yesterday of which I was unaware. That when you do a Google search now, it goes to Facebook first?
One of the top, because it's one of the highest traffic, there's a whole algorithm. But generally speaking, the first thing that pops up when you Google anything is the Facebook page.
Evolve or die.
That's it. If you look at local businesses, several of them are changing their models. You got to do it, or else you're going to be out of business looking for work.
More on this as the morning rolls on. I'm fascinated by all this. 649, 1017 FM, 710 KEEL. Time for traffic just ahead of your money now. Here's Ruben.
Looks like I-49 South's got to clear all the way to Alexandria right now, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-220 westbound near North Market due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline, 687-ROAD.
Here's your KeelAccuWeather.com forecast. Increasing clouds, a chance of rain later today, but warm middle 70s to near 80.
Administration is
Eight before 7 o'clock, 1017 FM, 710 KEEL. It's time for sports.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Tom Benson, the owner of the New Orleans Saints and Pelicans, died Thursday at the age of 90. He was admitted into the hospital last month with flu symptoms that reportedly included pneumonia. Benson bought the Saints for $70 million on May 31st, 1985. He added the Pelicans to his holdings in 2012. According to multiple reports, Mr. Benson's widow, Gail, has been approved by the NFL and NBA as the owner of the Saints and Pelicans. Sam Burns is tied for 13th after one round of the Arnold Palmer Invitational on the PGA Tour, 5 shots off the lead. The 21-year-old Calvary alum bogeyed his first 2 holes but rallied nicely. The Mudbugs face Odessa tonight and tomorrow night on George's Pond inside Hirsch Coliseum. The puck drops at 7:11 p.m. On the diamond, LSU opens SEC play tonight against Missouri. First pitch at Alex Buck Stadium, 6:30. And in the NCAA tournament, 13th-seeded Buffalo waxed 4th-seeded Arizona in the biggest upset of the day. The SEC started strong. Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, and Florida all won. Missouri, Auburn, Arkansas, and Texas A&M play today. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
.655, Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Matt and I are going to be just a little bit self-indulgent here. You need to make a mental note. Maybe we need to get promos cut from our Chicago voiceover guy. About, I told you what I wanted to call it. What are you wearing Wednesday?
I'm down. I love it.
Now, for those of you, when I say, what are you wearing Wednesday, I don't want
lingerie shots.
No, that's no. See, Matt and I are both kind of watch geeks. Mm-hmm. And in fact, you just ordered. What did you order? The Oris Frank Sinatra.
It's an Oris Frank Sinatra chrono. It looks amazing. I'd show it to you, but it's
basically sort of an Art Deco looking watch.
Yeah, it looks like 1930s New York.
And,
it's awesome.
And if you're watching, this is my newest. It's a Mido multi-fort chronograph adventure. I picked this up a couple of weeks ago. The point being, what we're thinking about doing is doing a What Are You Wearing Wednesday for other watch geeks. And then you can, send us photos on the text line of the watch you have on for the day.
See, part of me loves this idea, and the other part of me knows it's just going to anger me when I see, that's an awesome sub. I want it.
See, wouldn't you like to know, though? Wouldn't you really be interested to know how many guys in Shreveport listening to this show are wearing, Omegas or Patek Philippe's or Jaeger LeCoultre's or something like that? Got to go 6:56. Here's Rush on Keel.
A 3-judge panel of Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals issued a ruling this week about sanctuary cities that could be a game changer. The case was prompted by a law passed last May by the Texas legislature. It required police chiefs and sheriffs to cooperate with federal immigration officials. It allowed cops to question anyone they arrested about their immigration status. In other words, Texas stripped sanctuary cities of their sanctuary. A lone federal judge in San Antonio temporarily blocked implementation of the law. But on Tuesday, the 3 appeals court judges voted unanimously to smack down that decision. Texas can enforce the law while the case is still being challenged in court. Except for one minor provision, the 3-judge panel found the plaintiff's argument wasn't likely to succeed on the merits of the constitutional issues raised. And that's a big deal, since this case is likely headed to the Supreme Court. It's also a big deal because this Texas law is right in line with President Trump's position on sanctuary cities. Illegal immigration advocates are vowing to press on. They say they're looking forward to an appeal of the Texas law. Well, bring it. The left sanctuary nonsense has dragged on for too long. It's a direct attack on the rule of law, and the sooner America is rid of it, the better.
American Ground Radio, where building a better America begins with building a better us.
Every single person has the opportunity, the chance, the risk to be corrupted when they get power.
You mean if they're not already oriented in the mindset that they are a public servant?
Return each weeknight from 6 to 7 p.m. with Louis R. Avalone and Stephen Parr on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, and streaming live at KEELnews.com.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Time to take a look at traffic. Here's Ruben.
Looking right now at some slow-moving traffic on Westport Coons Industrial Loop near Walker Road. And we have some traffic delays on Old Minden Road near Airline Drive in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast calls for clouds today with a shower or a heavy thunderstorm. The high 82, partly cloudy, low 63 tonight. Another thunder shower tomorrow morning, then partly sunny and warm, high 84. With your AccuWeather.com forecasts, I'm Bill Degger.
Dr. Kate Brumley, the outgoing DeSoto Parish School Superintendent, joins us just after 7 o'clock. In the meantime, 62 degrees. Here comes Fox News, 7 o'clock on KEEL.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL, Shreveport. The KEEL Morning Show with Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Breaking news and trending talk on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
40 past 7 o'clock. Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL app's a free download from Office Furniture Source. Oh, and Erin on vacation. She'll be back on Monday. Matt in the Erin chair. Local news just a couple of seconds away. I'm assuming the Caddo Magnet lacrosse game story is in it. It doesn't have as much to do with Caddo Magnet as I just made it sound. He'll tell you more. Plus, Dr. Cade Brumley headed south. Probably no U-Haul involved. He'll bring us up to date. Traffic and weather, and Fletcher has sports. It's all coming up this hour, and it's here on KEEL.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Gunshots interrupt a high school lacrosse game in Shreveport. According to police, a gunfight took place near Caddo Parish Magnet High School. A Pontiac Grand Am was struck by bullets and ultimately crashed into a light pole close to the school's campus. Police have detained one juvenile that may be connected to the shooting, but are searching for several other suspects. DeSoto Parish Sheriff Rodney Arbuckle has announced his retirement effective today. Arbuckle has been in law enforcement for over 3 decades, including spending the last 17 years as sheriff of DeSoto Parish. In a statement, Arbuckle says that his son is now practicing law in the area and does not want any appearance of conflict of interest. Chief Deputy Jason Richardson will be appointed sheriff as soon as Arbuckle retires. Saints and Pelicans owner Tom Benson's being remembered fondly today. Matt Doyle has more.
Tom Benson was the only man on earth to have owned 2 major sports teams in the city he was born in. He bought the Saints in '85 and the Pels in 2012, and Governor John Bell Edwards says Benson did it out of love for the Crescent City.
His love for our state and for New Orleans was never stronger than it was right here at the very end.
And Governor Edwin Edwards, who facilitated the purchase of the Saints, says Benson was a man who kept his promise to keep the Saints at home.
One of a kind. They don't come any better.
Recent court proceedings indicate that his wife Gail will take over the teams. I'm Matt Doyle.
A big-budget Netflix movie will begin filming in Shreveport on Monday. The Highwaymen stars Kevin Costner and Woody Harrelson and chronicles the journey of 2 Texas Rangers on the hunt for Bonnie and Clyde. While the majority of the film was shot down south, locals in the film industry hope the big-budget project will give life to Northwest Louisiana's struggling film industry. Shreveport Senator John Milkovich's legislation that would give teachers more freedom to decide how to handle bullies in public schools passed through the Senate Education Committee. The bill gives teachers a wide leniency to, quote, take all steps deemed necessary to stop bullying. Milkovich says the bill was inspired by a meeting he had with 2 parents whose daughter had committed suicide after being bullied.
Their kids were harassed by schoolmates. This breaks the heart of every parent. Each of them went home on different days and found their teenage daughters hanging in their bedrooms.
Currently, teachers are limited in how they can handle bullying in schools. A grand jury has indicted 4 people on charges in the death of a Louisiana State University student whose blood alcohol content was more than 6 times the legal limit. The state grand jury issued the indictments Thursday, 6 months after 18-year-old Maxwell Groover's death. Angela Smith is wanted by Shreveport police for her role in the death of a man found inside a burning car. The body was discovered in an alleyway on Southern Avenue back in January. Smith is wanted for obstruction of justice. If you know the whereabouts of Smith, police urge you to call Crime Stoppers at 673-7373. You won't believe some of the weird things left behind in Ubers. Fox News' Gernal Scott has that story.
Some of the items misplaced you might expect: keys, cell phones, wallets. But BuzzFeed reports that in 2017, those making a hasty exit from an Uber left behind the unconventional as well: a flat-screen TV, tax returns, hair extensions, and a cat carrier, we assume minus the cat. Ubers may have also been where weddings got second thoughts, with people leaving behind a bridal veil, a tuxedo, and in one case, a marriage certificate. The time most people forgot stuff, between 11 at night and 1 in the morning. The most common day, Sunday. And among the most forgetful places, 2 college towns: DuBose, Pennsylvania, and Athens, Georgia. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
LSU opens SEC play tonight at Alex Box Stadium as the Fighting Tigers host Missouri. You can listen to that game on our sister station, 1130 The Tiger. From 101.7 FM and 710 Keel, I'm Matt Parker.
Nine past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel traffic. Here's Ruben.
The intersection at Linwood Avenue and Hollywood Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Barksdale Boulevard near Hamilton Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast calls for the threat of a heavy thunderstorm today, otherwise mostly cloudy, high 82. Partly to mostly cloudy, low 63 tonight. Thunder shower to start tomorrow, then cloudy and warm, high 84. With your AccuWeather.com forecasts, I'm Bill Degger.
What does all of
.101.7 FM and 710 Keel, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, 12 past 7 o'clock. Erin away for the week. Well, today's the last day. Today's Friday, right?
God, I hope so.
Help me out, buddy. Help me.
Okay.
I've told Dr. Kate Brumley is here, and we'll do the official introduction in a couple of seconds. But I told Matt this week, filling in for Erin and doing all sorts of other highly important tasks. You have proved your mettle. If there were ever any question whether or not you asked yourself, am I in the right business, you have proven that this week that you are. A stellar performance. So, Dr. Kate Brumley, the outgoing DeSoto Parish School Superintendent, is here. I apologize. You came in the door a couple of seconds ago, and I said, so what's up? And I kind of rolled my eyes. An interesting last, well, you tell me, month, 6 weeks, 2 months? How exactly does that work? I mean, look, if I ask you something and you don't want to answer, just go, yeah, let's move on, little man. But how does all this start? How far back has this process of you going to Jefferson Parish and taking over, how long has this been going on?
Yeah, I think I put my application in mid-February. And then went through an interview on March 5th, and it only lasted 3.5 hours down there in Jefferson Parish.
So there's like headhunters. They called you. You saw. You got word through the grapevine, and you said, "I want to be in charge of 1 billion kids."
Well, you know, I'm the president of the Louisiana Superintendents Association, so because of that, I have knowledge of various jobs that are becoming available and things like that. I never in my life thought I would apply for a different superintendency outside of DeSoto. We're doing great things.
You're a local guy. You're a North Louisiana guy.
Yeah, I'm a North Louisiana guy. We're doing great things. I never thought I would, but
so explain to me what the lure was.
Yeah, well, you know, we have had this conversation many times that I think that the playbook that we have used in DeSoto to get the results that we have, received for kids can be used elsewhere. And so this is an opportunity to magnify that times 10, essentially help 50,000 kids instead of just over 5,000. And so if we do this work right, Robert, and this is what I tell people, if we do this work right in Jefferson and we're able to raise the graduation rates even 10%, okay, you're talking about 500 additional Louisiana graduates each year. Now, that has a tremendous impact on the state, the economy, and just the way of life in Louisiana.
That's a whole different world down there, yes?
Yeah,
So how does the Brumley plan, because you had to have thought about this, how does the Brumley plan, how does that morph into what works in what is a whole completely scary different setting?
Yeah, south of I-10. Surprised they let me pass the line, right?
Nobody goes there.
Yeah, they asked me if I was bilingual. I said, does redneck count? But seriously, no. There are certain things that we do that are universal. Kids are kids, teachers are teachers, schools are schools, and so you just have to, I would think, build the support strategies in place to magnify that beyond the work that we're doing now, take it out to scale, take it to the volume that's in place, and we think that we can do the work.
I mean, you're not exactly Morgan Freeman.
And listen, I'm saying we, and I don't even have a we. I'll have my we whenever I get down there, but I know that I'll be working with some great people.
Your first day, I can't think, what's the movie? It's the Morgan Freeman.
Stand By Me?
Is that it? Where Morgan Freeman, it's my way or the highway, and he's smacking people around. That's not exactly your management style.
No, I'm not that way. I think I'm more of a centrist. Obviously I try to always have a plan. A board member described me the other night whenever we were saying our goodbyes in DeSoto, and he said, I've always appreciated you've had a plan, and in fact, you typically have a plan for a plan. And so that would be my plan going in, is to make sure that we're as prepared as possible to help kids.
I would, not the first thing, but one of the things that occurred to me, and not to compare you to Donald Trump specifically, but do you have any concern about, let's use the term deep state? Do you have any concern about you, the new guy, and this just ain't the way we do it? This is how we've done it for years and years, and you can easily point and say, yeah, but your results haven't always been the best. Why don't we try something new? But do you have concerns about some sort of deep state institutional, I don't want to say interference, but resistance?
Oh, obviously, Robert. But, every time I get a little concerned about that, I just think, just be me. Just go in, do the things that I do, be true to my values that I believe in, and it's typically worked. I've typically been able to work with people and build teams and, provide vision, support people, and get results. And, that's all I know how to do. And if that doesn't work, then it doesn't work. But I'll know that I did all that I could do to make it be successful.
DeSoto, under your aegis, as it were, went from, what was it, 49th, 46 to 9, 49? Tell me about that and how that applies to New Orleans.
Yeah, well, one of the things that people will say about our work in DeSoto is we actually let the people do the work. We have talented people.
Explain to me what that means.
Yeah, we have incredibly talented people in DeSoto Parish, and we work to retain them. We work to recruit even more talent into the system, and we didn't sit there and micromanage their work. We said, okay, here are some general guidelines. This is where we're trying to get to. Stay within those lanes, and let's get there. And we're going to get you the support that you need to get there, but we expect you to get there. And that's what's happened. We're now ninth in the state for academic performance. Top 10, little DeSoto Parish, is in the top 10 in Louisiana for academic performance.
Did I get this right? Did I see this? Did you tell me the only school district in the state without a failing school? Was that it?
That is probably correct.
How many failing schools right now in Jefferson? Do you know? How many schools in Jefferson?
Yeah, that's interesting. There are between 85 and 90 schools in Jefferson Parish.
And how many in DeSoto?
10.
So, you know what? Let's leave segment 1 right there, because we still got lots to talk about, including, I know, regrets is probably not the right word, but I know that you have a lot of mixed emotions about departing, leaving a lot of folks that you were very close to.
Yeah, absolutely.
101.7 FM, 710 Keel. More with Dr. Kate Brumley in just a couple of seconds. 19 past 7 o'clock. Here's Ruben.
The intersection at Linwood Avenue and Hollywood Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Barksdale Boulevard near Hamilton Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast calls for the threat of a heavy thunderstorm today, otherwise mostly cloudy, high 82. Partly to mostly cloudy, low 63 tonight. Thunder shower to start tomorrow, then cloudy and warm, high 84. With your AccuWeather.com forecasts, I'm Bill Degger.
Twenty-one past 7 o'clock. Keel Sports. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Tom Benson, the owner of the New Orleans Saints and Pelicans, died Thursday at the age of 90. He was admitted into the hospital last month with flu symptoms that reportedly included pneumonia. Benson bought the Saints for $70 million on May 31st, 1985. He added the Pelicans to his holdings in 2012. According to multiple reports, Mr. Benson's widow, Gail, has been approved by the NFL and NBA as the owner of the Saints and Pelicans. Sam Burns is tied for 13th after one round of the Arnold Palmer Invitational on the PGA Tour, 5 shots off the lead. The 21-year-old Calvary alum bogeyed his first 2 holes but rallied nicely. The Mudbugs face Odessa tonight and tomorrow night on George's Pond inside Hirsch Coliseum. The puck drops at 7:11 p.m. On the diamond, LSU opens SEC play tonight against Missouri. First pitch at Alex Box Stadium, 6:30. And in the NCAA tournament, 13th-seeded Buffalo waxed 4th-seeded Arizona in the biggest upset of the day. The SEC started strong. Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, and Florida all won. Missouri, Auburn, Arkansas, and Texas A&M play today. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
.101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty, 24 past 7 o'clock. Erin gone till Monday. Dr. Cade Brumley, the new superintendent of schools in Jefferson Parish, Louisiana. Is New Orleans composed? Is New Orleans in two parishes, Jefferson and Orleans, or is it all in Jefferson Parish?
No, Orleans and Jefferson are two separate parishes.
Yeah.
But Jefferson is actually split by the Mississippi River. So you have the east bank of Jefferson, which is essentially Kenner, Metairie, River Ridge, Harahan, and you have the west bank, which is Harvey, Gretna, West Wago, Marrero.
Wait just a second. So you being the new superintendent of Jefferson Parish schools encompasses part of New Orleans or all of New Orleans?
Not New Orleans itself, just outside of New Orleans.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kenner and Granite, run that list down for me again.
Yeah, on the east bank you'll have like Metairie, Kenner, River Ridge, Harahan. On the west bank you'll have Harvey, Gretna, Marrero. It goes all the way down to Grand Isle. So you actually have to leave Jefferson Parish, go into Lafourche Parish to get back to Jefferson Parish. So interesting story. I asked this question. So from my new office in Harvey, Louisiana, if I need to get to Grand Isle High School, it's a 2.5-hour drive.
God.
Or you can take the boat and get there in 40 minutes.
See, my sense was, I mean, I go to New Orleans a lot, but I don't really, the way it's broken down, you know what I'm trying to say. My sense was that you were going to a primarily, in fact, an urban school district,
Yeah.
and that's not the case at all.
It's partly true. So if you're going into if you're a Northwest Louisiana guy like you and I, and you're going into New Orleans, whenever you think you're in New Orleans, for the most part, you're actually in Jefferson Parish.
Yeah.
Until basically you get to see the Superdome and all
literally
that.
the Vieux Carré exit is where it starts.
Right. Yeah. So,
but all of that before that is you now.
Right. Yeah. So it's extremely urban there, but then it gets rural as it goes south, and in fact, you get to Lafitte and Grand Isle and everything out around the Gulf, and it's fishing communities.
So not only do you have the exceedingly rural, middle of nowhere, the Cajun outposts. You've got, like, if you're familiar with New Orleans, Bonneville Avenue and all of that stuff in there. That's big city stuff.
That's right. Yeah.
How do those two have anything in common in the approach you take to implementing the Brumley plan?
Yeah, well, I think, kids are the common denominator, and effective teachers. Every kid deserves an effective teacher. And I just believe that if we do the work necessary to put the best teachers in front of the kids, we'll get the best results.
So what are the goals when you started? Now, I know you've got a plan. In fact, you kind of joked about it that you had, I guess, a little going away party a couple of days ago, something like that, and somebody made the joke that Cade's got a plan for his plan.
Yeah.
He's got plan, then he's got the sub-plan. What's not necessarily the plan, but what is the goal?
Yeah.
What's the old line? A goal without a plan is just a wish. Herm Edwards.
Yeah. Well, people ask me and have asked me over the last month or so in interviews and applications, what's your vision for the system? And I think the question is inherently wrong. The question should be, how will you help us develop a vision, and then how will you help us get there? And so I'll be soon introducing a 100-day entry plan into the system, which will be about listening and learning as much as possible so that I can come out of that 100 days ready for the 18-19 school year with recommendations of how to get better.
You are a self-confident man. I would, my dealings with you, you have never come across as an ego-driven man. And the point I'm making is that as you are leaving DeSoto Parish, knowing you the way I do, I don't think you're a guy who would say, I did it, and I did it all. I know there's a lot of people that you want to say thank you to, in much the same way that you will spread not only responsibility but credit when you get to Jefferson Parish.
Right, Robert. I'm a school guy. In the first grade, I told my first grade teacher I'm going to be the school principal, and in fact, I'm going to be the school principal at this school. And 20 years later, I was blessed being able to do that. So whether it's popping popcorn in the gym or leading in a boardroom, I'm a school guy, and I never forget that. And so I know that the results that we've had in DeSoto are because of the quality people and the students and the community that have supported us. And so it's a very bittersweet moment for me to step away from that and step away from the people that I know are doing authentic, sincere, good work for kids. But I can only hope that whenever I get to Jefferson, I meet more people like that and have the opportunity to work with more people like that, and we can do some of the same good work there that we've done here.
No doubt you feel DeSoto is being left in good hands?
Absolutely. I'm working with the board at this point to ensure a smooth transition with whoever the next superintendent might be.
Congratulations. You certainly will be missed in this part of Louisiana, but you're a guy from here, so you'll be back often, and hope you'll stop in and say hello, and we will read about you all the time and your unavoidable success. How is that?
Well, Robert, let me also say as we go out, just allow me to always call this place a home.
Excellent. We appreciate your time as always, your accessibility, your honesty, and availability. It's like I said, congratulations. You will be missed. 1017 FM, 710 Keel traffic update real quick, just ahead of Matt and local news. Here's Ruben.
The intersection in North Spring Street and East Stoner Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Hamilton Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline at 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast calls for the threat of a heavy thunderstorm today, otherwise mostly cloudy, high 82. Partly to mostly cloudy, low 63 tonight. Thunder shower to start tomorrow, then cloudy and warm, high 84. With your AccuWeather.com forecasts, I'm Bill Degger.
of information. KEEL News now.
A big-budget Netflix movie will begin filming in Shreveport on Monday. The Highwaymen stars Kevin Costner and Woody Harrelson and chronicles the journey of two Texas Rangers on the hunt for Bonnie and Clyde. While the majority of the film was shot down south, locals in the film industry hope the big-budget project will give life to Northwest Louisiana's struggling film industry. Gunshots interrupt a high school lacrosse game in Shreveport. According to police, a gunfight took place near Caddo Parish Magnet High School last night. A Pontiac Grand Am was struck by bullets and ultimately crashed into a light pole close to the school's campus. Police have detained one juvenile that may be connected to the shooting, but are searching for several other suspects. The DeSoto Parish Sheriff Rodney Arbuckle has announced his retirement effective today. Arbuckle has been in law enforcement for over 3 decades, including spending the last 17 years as sheriff of DeSoto Parish. In a statement, Arbuckle says that his son is now practicing law in the area, including criminal cases, and does not want any appearance of conflict of interest. Chief Deputy Jason Richardson will be appointed sheriff as soon as Arbuckle retires. 4 indicted in LSU hazing death. Jeff Palermo has that story.
Only one of them is facing a felony charge in the death of Maxwell Groover, and that's Matthew Nakan, who was indicted on negligent homicide. 3 others were indicted on a misdemeanor charge of hazing.
They don't face more than 30 days in jail on those hazing counts.
That's Loyola University law professor Dane Cialino, who says since grand jury proceedings are not public, it remains a mystery on why the panel declined to indict 5 other people that were presented to the jury.
The DA can certainly point to the grand jury as making these difficult charging decisions.
I'm Jeff Palermo.
Shreveport police have issued an arrest warrant for a man they believe to be connected with a near-fatal stabbing. Damian Updike is wanted for attempted first-degree murder after 2 women suffered life-threatening wounds during a violent stabbing in the wee hours of Tuesday morning. Brian Todd has already been apprehended for his part of the violent encounter. Police say they are also searching for a 3rd man who may have been involved in the stabbing. With the future of TOPS in doubt due to Louisiana's fiscal cliff, one local college is vowing to honor all awards for the 2018-2019 school year. Centenary College says they will honor the full TOPS scholarship amount regardless of what the legislature does during the regular session. This is the 3rd consecutive year the Shreveport University has committed to honor TOPS scholarships despite cuts to the program by lawmakers. Saints and Pelicans owner Tom Benson has passed away at the age of 90. Benson is the only person to ever own 2 professional sports teams in their hometown. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
.101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, 737. By the way, everybody liked our analogy yesterday about you and your temper. Not really temper. What's the phrase you would use? Your ability to explode and...
I always say I'm violently passionate.
So
you got some violent passion yesterday.
And I likened that Matt's temperament as like Scoville units. And the thing, if you will, the Carolina ghost pepper, Scoville unit wise, that sets you off is TOPS.
It's up there. Yeah.
And what was the other one that we talked about yesterday?
That was Drew Brees' contract. There were several things we got into that kind of... got me worked up.
See, I was talking with someone last night about that very same thing. And basically what I said was, and we don't have time. This is why I'm doing this in the short segment, because I don't want you to get wound up. I don't want your head to explode. I don't want you to choke anybody, especially me. But basically what I said was, TOPS is necessary because college is so expensive. College is so expensive because of TOPS. I'm sorry, what was that noise again? See, we don't have time.
I'm seething.
I'm
seething.
I'll try not to bring it up when we get back.
Thank God.
738, 1017 FM, 710 KEEL attorney Jack Bailey. And let's say Caddo Parish Shreveport historian Jack Bailey joins us just past 8 o'clock this morning. What we're going to talk about is Trump and his tariffs, Trump and his economic philosophy, Trump and what critics say, that crazy that guy is going to start a trade war. But the point being that just maybe there's been a trade war against the United States going on for more than 2 decades, and we just haven't been a part of it. And maybe this national inaction from Washington is what, to a great degree, has hurt us here in Caddo Parish.
I said earlier this week, we've been taking it on the chin for 30 years. It's about time we start punching back.
1017 FM, 710 KEEL, 739. Here's Ruben. Traffic update for Friday morning.
The intersection of West 70th Street and Mansfield Road's dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Old Minden Road near East Texas Street in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast calls for the threat of a heavy thunderstorm today, otherwise mostly cloudy, high 82. Partly to mostly cloudy, low 63 tonight. Thunder shower to start tomorrow, then cloudy and warm, high 84. With your AccuWeather.com forecasts, I'm Bill Degger.
It helps if you turn on the mic.
Red light, right?
Mm-hmm.
101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Speaking of red light, we did cover that story a couple of weeks ago because there are court cases, I guess, all over the country about municipalities that are being ordered to pay back monies, fines that they have. Basically, you run a red light, they get you on camera. And then they said, you're caught, send us $200. And I think it was New Orleans was ordered to pay back, was it $20 million?
It was 20 or 40. It was something ridiculous. The main thing there was
20 some odd $1 million.
Because they let a third party do it, and there wasn't someone actually monitor. It goes deep, but basically they let someone else do their job, and the judge is like, we're not going to let that fly.
Speaking of New Orleans, Saints and Pelicans owner Tom Benson, what was he, 80?
I think he was 90.
Wow. Like my dad said, my dad passed away at 93, almost 94, and he was about 90, and he said to me, to a 90-year-old man, 95 ain't that old. So Tom Benson, a nanogenarian, and you made an interesting point. He was, of all time, the only sports team owner.
The only guy to own 2 professional sports franchises in his hometown.
You said something interesting in the last hour off the air. And I may be getting
I say a lot of things, so you're gonna have to be more
but
specific.
This was pretty you said other than Charles Manson, nobody's a bad guy after they die.
Yeah, pretty much. Unless you're a psycho killer or something like that. Most people give you a free pass no matter what you did in your life.
And I am not implying that Tom Benson was a bad guy. It's just the way he has been embraced and sort of put on a pedestal now in his demise. I think there's a lot of people who are forgetting how incredibly close, both pre and post Katrina, the Saints came to moving to San Antonio. The consensus was that they were gone. And he was being pilloried as a mercenary, as a carpetbagger not in New Orleans, because that's where he's from. But I mean, and to this day, I found this article earlier this morning because we were kind of talking about that. And this was an article at the website NOLA.com, the Times-Picayune, New Orleans newspaper. And this was written in 2015. And basically, they went to San Antonio 10 years after the fact, i.e., all this happened around 2005. And there's people in San Antonio in government, in business, the citizenry of San Antonio, and they thought the Saints were a done deal.
Everything but the paper signed.
And to this day, they feel as though they were screwed by Tom Benson and the New Orleans Saints. And I'm remembering back that there was so much talk about, I vaguely remember with the talk about the Saints going to San Antonio, that there were even rumors, and the city of New Orleans was making overtures. Do you remember this, or is this just something in my head, that at the time, like 2005, the Saints were making overtures to the Minnesota Vikings, trying to get the Vikings, in case the Saints moved to San Antonio, to get the Vikings to move to New Orleans.
Yeah, that sounds about right, because that was right around the time they were looking to change some ownership. So
San Antonio, there's a lot of people still just pissed off. 10 years, 12, 13 years after the fact. San Antonio had hoped to attract the Saints, blah, 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 blah. They had done stadium negotiations with Tom Benson, etc. Here is a quote from NOLA.com. This is a San Antonio. By the way, just as an aside, if you're ever reading about San Antonio, Texas, and you see the word B-E-X-A-R, it's pronounced Bear. It's Bear County, okay? Just to give you guys a heads up. The quote is, I may be, after all the negotiation with the Saints, I may be a little too cynical, but they, who does he mean? Tom Benson and the Saints. I may be a little too cynical, but they are not truthful with you, says Bear County Judge Nelson Wolf of unnamed sports teams that explored relocation to San Antonio. The judge continues. They lie. As you know, after our escapades with the Saints, I am very distrustful with them all. In 2005, blah, 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 San Antonio, the highfalutin government people, the business people, etc., worked with Saints owner Tom Benson, who had reportedly agreed following the season to relocate, this is '05, to relocate the team to San Antonio. The Saints, however, Benson, decided to remain in Louisiana after the National Football League, the state of Louisiana, and New Orleans promised lucrative incentives. So basically what happened was, here's the question we ask, and this goes back to the first Cross Bayou idea, the proposed project, and dealing with Benson and the Pelicans management, etc. We'll give you an arena. You can bring your G League team here. It'll be carte blanche. You guys, you can have it. And I had said, Tom Benson, businessman, smart businessman, great negotiator that he is. I said, he's got two pro teams. He's got the NFL Saints. He's got the NBA Pelicans. And he ain't paying a dime for an arena. And for we in Shreveport to think that the Pelicans were going to come in here and give us a penny of anything that was a pipe dream. It just wasn't going to happen based on the situation, his situation in New Orleans, where he was literally given two stadiums, a Superdome and a Smoothie King Arena. 749, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Keeping an eye right now on some slow-moving traffic on North Hearn Avenue near Ford Street. And we have some traffic delays on Texas Street in downtown Shreveport. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Texas Street in downtown Shreveport. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's
I'm Jennifer
687
Kushinka
Road.
with Your Money Now.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, 752. Here's sports.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Tom Benson, the owner of the New Orleans Saints and Pelicans, died Thursday at the age of 90. He was admitted into the hospital last month with flu symptoms that reportedly included pneumonia. Benson bought the Saints for $70 million on May 31st, 1985. He added the Pelicans to his holdings in 2012. According to multiple reports, Mr. Benson's widow, Gail, has been approved by the NFL and NBA as the owner of the Saints and Pelicans. Sam Burns is tied for 13th after one round of the Arnold Palmer Invitational on the PGA Tour, 5 shots off the lead. The 21-year-old Calvary alum bogeyed his first 2 holes but rallied nicely. The Mudbugs face Odessa tonight and tomorrow night on George's Pond inside Hirsch Coliseum. The puck drops at 7:11 p.m. On the diamond, LSU opens SEC play tonight against Missouri. First pitch at Alex Box Stadium, 6:30. And in the NCAA tournament, 13th seeded Buffalo waxed 4th seeded Arizona in the biggest upset of the day. The SEC started strong. Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, and Florida all won. Missouri, Auburn, Arkansas, and Texas A&M play today. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
Diamond Jacks.
.755, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Erin back Monday. Attorney Jack Bailey. Shreveport historian Jack Bailey.
The man knows a little bit about things.
Always an interesting guest, to say the least. He'll join us. Ticking time bomb, Jack Bailey just went to the men's room. He's not listening right now. He'll join us just after 7 o'clock, specifically to talk about Donald Trump and tariffs and how the national trade policy over the last more than 2 decades has had a markedly less positive effect on Shreveport, Caddo Parish, the Arklatex, etc. In the 740 segment, we need to talk about Toys R Us again, because you've got to riff on that for those of you who have seen in the news and whatever website you go to, KEEL.com, we had something there about Toys R Us. The local Toys R Us is on East Texas in Bossier,
yes.
right in front of Pierre Bossier Mall. And is that
gone?
Is that one of the ones said to be on the block?
Oh yeah, there's no saving that one. I think their liquidation sale starts tomorrow.
Yikes! So here's the deal. And my first thought when I saw 800 Toys R Us locations across America shutting down, what I said to Matt was, we'll cover this more after 8 o'clock, promise. What I said to Matt was, so basically this is Toys R Us, 800 stores across America. This is another brick and mortar victim to Americans buying online. Basically, Amazon has lopped the head off another American enterprise. And you said, Matt jumped, he jumped on, not exactly. I said, what do you mean? And this is the little tease we'll cover later. I said, what do you mean? He said, Toys R Us basically had a business model from the 1970s. They didn't adapt. They're
adapt
gone.
or die.
7:57. Here's Hannity on KEEL.
Your morning espresso starts right here. It's the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
And on Wednesday, schools, students across the country, they marched to protest, quote, against gun violence. And in typical fashion, predictable fashion, it turned into a full-blown display of liberal hypocrisy as many high-profile leftist politicians, well, they attended the protest, but of course they were flanked by security. Yes, people carrying guns to protect them. You got a video of Senator Bernie Sanders showing armed police officers escorting him through the crowds of students protesting in Washington, D.C. And then you got New York Governor Andrew Cuomo laying on the ground participating in a so-called die-in. And of course, his armed security were watching over him. So why don't we just focus on emulating the politicians? And how about we give the kids in our schools the same armed guards that these politicians have? That would be a good start for school safety.
The Sean Hannity Show from coast to coast later today.
They may not be your ordinary political pundits, but these days, that's a good thing. These mamas make sense. Terry Netterville and Denise Arthur. Listen to Mama on American Ground Radio. Weeknights from 6 to 7 p.m. Right here on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. And streaming live at KEELnews.com.
Matt Parker kid, pretty smart for a millennial. 7:59, 7:59, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Fox News just ahead. Right now, traffic and Ruben.
Still keeping an eye on that heavy backed up traffic on I-20 westbound. Starting at Spring and Market, it's backed up to Airline Drive right now. And we're still dealing with some traffic delays on North Market near North Hearn Avenue. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline at 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast calls for clouds today with a shower or a heavy thunderstorm. The high 82, partly cloudy, low 63 tonight. Another thunder shower tomorrow morning, then partly sunny and warm, high 84. With your AccuWeather.com forecasts, I'm Bill Degger.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL, Shreveport.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast calls for the threat of a heavy thunderstorm today, otherwise mostly cloudy, high 82. Partly to mostly cloudy, low 63 tonight. Thunder shower to start tomorrow, then cloudy and warm, high 84. With your AccuWeather.com forecasts, I'm Bill Degger.
Parker. With the future of tops in doubt due to Louisiana's.
That's Loyola University law professor Dane Cialino, who says since grand jury.
The Soto Parish Sheriff Rodney Arbuckle has announced his retirement last night. A Pontiac 4 indicted in LSU hazing death. Jeff Palermo has that story. Tires. Shreveport police have issued an arrest warrant.
3 past 8 o'clock. Robert and Erin, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Erin off for the week. Matt has local news, just a couple of seconds. Some stuff. By stuff, I mean like gunshots fired near Caddo Magnet High School. You know, the field. There was a lacrosse game going on, and Matt will fill you guys in. Local attorney Jack Bailey, Shreveport historian Jack Bailey, business analyst Jack Bailey. The guy's a renaissance man. He joins us just after 8 o'clock. And later this hour, Toys R Us. East Texas and Bossier. What's the deal? Is there any chance that store stays open? Fletcher in sports, traffic, and weather, and it's all coming up this hour right here on Keel.
Power of information. Keel News now.
DeSoto Parish Sheriff Rodney Arbuckle has announced his retirement effective today. Arbuckle has been in law enforcement for over 3 decades, including spending the last 17 years as sheriff of DeSoto Parish. In a statement, Arbuckle says that his son is now practicing law in the area, including criminal cases, and does not want any appearance of conflict of interest. Chief Deputy Jason Richardson will be appointed sheriff as soon as Arbuckle retires. Gunshots interrupt a high school lacrosse game in Shreveport. According to police, a gunfight took place near Caddo Parish Magnet High School. A Pontiac Grand Am was struck by bullets and ultimately crashed into a light pole close to the school's campus. Police have detained one juvenile that may be connected to the shooting, but are searching for several other suspects. With the future of TOPS in doubt due to Louisiana's fiscal cliff, one local college is vowing to honor all awards for the 2018-2019 school year. Centenary College says that they will honor the full top scholarship amount for any prospective and current students, regardless of what the legislature does during the regular session. This is the 3rd consecutive year the Shreveport University has committed to honor top scholarships, despite cuts to the program by the Louisiana legislature. Saints and Pelicans owner Tom Benson has passed away at the age of 90. Benson bought the Saints in 1985 after building a car dealership and real estate empire that started in San Antonio and expanded to his hometown in New Orleans. When the team went up for sale in 1984, then Governor Edwin Edwards says he had one priority, finding a buyer who would keep the team in town, and he found that man in Benson.
And he assured me that if he did buy it, the team would stay in New Orleans. And he kept his word, as he told me he would. The team has remained in New Orleans, been a great asset to the city and the state.
Edwards says he considered Benson a friend, and the two worked together to make the team a staple of Louisiana culture. A dog's death has spurred action from one Louisiana senator. Don Molino has more.
The U.S. Department of Transportation reports 24 animals died last year while in the care of major U.S. airlines. Senator John Kennedy says that's too many, and he's co-sponsored a bill to try and end that. A dog on a United flight died Monday after it was put in an overhead bin, and Kennedy wants answers.
I'd like a written explanation first, but if it's not adequate, I'm going to go see the appropriate committee chairman and ask that hearings be held.
Lamar White is publisher of the Bayou Brief.
He was just looking for headlines, and it's worked. He was on CBS Nightly News last night. He was on CNN, been able to suck a lot of oxygen out because of this bill.
I'm Don Molino.
Shreveport Senator John Milkovich's legislation that would give teachers more freedom to decide how to handle bullies in public school passed through the Senate Education Committee. The bill gives teachers a wide leniency to, quote, take all steps deemed necessary to stop bullying, including involving the police and personally restraining offending students. Milkovich says it would cut down on the red tape involved in stopping bullies. Shreveport police have issued an arrest warrant for a man they believe to be connected with a near-fatal stabbing. Damian Updike is wanted for attempted first-degree murder after 2 women suffered life-threatening wounds during a violent stabbing in the wee hours of Tuesday morning. Brian Todd has already been apprehended for his part of the violent encounter. Police say they are also searching for a third man who may have been involved. A Louisiana man has been sentenced to 30 years in prison for manslaughter in the road rage death of former NFL running back Joe McKnight. 56-year-old Ronald Gasser received his sentence after McKnight's mother tearfully confronted him in court on Thursday. The 56-year-old killed the 28-year-old McKnight in 2016. McKnight had played for the Jets and the Chiefs. A grand jury indicted 4 people on charges in the death of a Louisiana State University student whose blood alcohol content was more than 6 times the legal limit for driving. The state grand jury issued the indictments Thursday, 6 months after the death of 18-year-old Max Groover. For 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Ten past 8 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Time for traffic. Here's Ruben.
We have reports of a minor hit and run on East 70th Street near Line Avenue, and we're looking at some backed up traffic on I-20 westbound. Starting at Spring and Market, it's backed up past Benton Road right now. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast calls for the threat of a heavy thunderstorm today, otherwise mostly cloudy, high 82. Partly to mostly cloudy, low 63 tonight. Thunder shower to start tomorrow, then cloudy and warm, high 84. With your AccuWeather.com forecasts, I'm Bill Degger.
People.
.101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Miss Erin gone today. One more day, and she'll be back. I hope she posts photos from she is in North Carolina along the coast, and it looks awesome. And I hope she won't, will she?
No, if we're talking about Erin, that takes effort.
Yeah, you have to get the phone out of the purse. Attorney Jack Bailey is here, a regular guest, and would it be unfair to refer to you as also, in addition to attorney, Shreveport historian, political analyst? You just are a Renaissance man among Shreveporters.
I do that thing that most people don't do anymore called reading.
Interesting you bring that up, because last time you were here, and it is one of our most requested best of segments, and it had to do with, and we've played it a couple of times recently, just because of all the stuff going on in Shreveport. We have a mayoral election on the way, and it's a lot of pre-election debate about what the issues are going to be. Primarily, what are we going to do in Shreveport to get jobs? We need money. The people here need a little walking around cash. What are the leaders, either in office now or in the future, going to do? But what I wanted to start off with in the first segment with you, and we were talking on the phone the other night, and good Lord, do our conversations on the phone ever take it? It's like we tack around, to say the least. But we were talking about specifically Donald Trump and his recently instituted tariffs, steel industry, I think aluminum was one, etc. And despite the fact that you have a history, as you refer to yourself, a yellow dog Democrat, Republican kryptonite, you are also, for any number of reasons, you are a Donald Trump guy. Explain to everybody why, when it comes to things like tariffs and or, as the president refers to it, make America great again, why you think America has fallen into the we're not so great area, and how that specifically has hurt us here at home.
Well, there are problems that this nation has that both Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump addressed. And I want to ask you a quiz this morning.
Oh, God.
What great Republican president said, "Give us a protective tariff and we will have the greatest nation on earth"? Well, the answer is Abraham Lincoln. And let me tell you what happened since Lincoln's words stopped being followed. Since 1975, this country has run a negative trade deficit every single year. We have lost over 7 million manufacturing jobs in this country just since 1975. We've lost over 20,000 manufacturing jobs in Caddo Bossier just since 1990.
Repeat that. Whoa, repeat that again. I know you've said that before, but I want you to say it with more slowly and with emphasis, because this is a perfect example about how, I was going to say government action. No, government neglect of its own people has hurt us right here at home. Run that number by me again.
All right. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics keeps these statistics. I can no longer find the statistics that went back to the 1970s. The only ones that are now extant are only back to 1990. But according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, Caddo Bossier, our metropolitan statistical area, in 1990 had over 25,000 manufacturing jobs here in Shreveport. Over 15,000 of those have been lost. So if you add the manufacturing jobs that were lost from the late 1970s to now, Caddo and Bossier parishes have lost over 20,000 manufacturing jobs. Now, we're not talking about the multiplier effect. We're talking about 20,000 people that were sitting at the assembly line. You want to know what's wrong with our tax base? You want to know why we have the crime problems we have? You want to know why there's not economic opportunity here? Well, there you go. And let me just mention one other thing to you. So The Economist magazine, which is supposedly the premier business publication of the world, it is the principal cheerleader of the neoliberal agenda on trade. And I have a quote from The Economist from last November about America. And here's what they were talking about in a trade article at the same time they were talking about how we needed more so-called free trade. In America, wages for men who did not complete high school fell by 32% in real terms between 1979 and 2015. Even for men who finished high school but did not earn a university degree, real earnings have fell over 19% during that same time period. So there are only three things that actually produce wealth, and that is agriculture, mining, and manufacturing. Everything else is wealth manipulation. So when you do away with your manufacturing base, it affects everything else in your economy. It affects opportunity, and it has all the cascading effects. Now, let's ask this. If we had those 25,000 manufacturing jobs
How would we be
back,
different? Oh, my God.
what would the effect be? If you had that much economic opportunity and wealth creation, what would individual tax rates be? What would your school system be like? How much less crime would you have?
But these are these 20,000 plus jobs that are gone, that have vanished from Shreveport, Bossier, the Arklatex. These are not jobs that disappeared because of modernization or the digital age. They did not disappear because of economic evolution, right?
No, they disappeared because of predatory trade practices. The rest of the world has been at war with the United States for 40 years on trade. We've just surrendered. There hadn't been a trade war. We've just been letting them do it to it. And Bob, last time I was here, I had an example, and you got a couple of nasty text messages because people were telling me I didn't know what I was talking about, that this was unions. And so I have the numbers about Airbus I want to talk to you today.
Hold on. End of first segment. More with Mr. Jack Bailey in just a couple of seconds. 19 past 8 o'clock. Keel traffic. Here comes Ruben.
Still keeping an eye on that heavy backed up traffic on I-20 westbound. Starting at Spring and Market, it's backed up to Airline Drive right now. And we're still dealing with some traffic delays on North Market near North Hearn Avenue. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast calls for the threat of a heavy thunderstorm today, otherwise mostly cloudy, high 82. Partly to mostly cloudy, low 63 tonight. Thunder shower to start tomorrow, then cloudy and warm, high 84. With your AccuWeather.com forecasts, I'm Bill Degger.
Twenty-two past 8 o'clock. Time for Keel Sports. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Tom Benson, the owner of the New Orleans Saints and Pelicans, died Thursday at the age of 90. He was admitted into the hospital last month with flu symptoms that reportedly included pneumonia. Benson bought the Saints for $70 million on May 31st, 1985. He added the Pelicans to his holdings in 2012. According to multiple reports, Mr. Benson's widow, Gail, has been approved by the NFL and NBA as the owner of the Saints and Pelicans. Sam Burns is tied for 13th after one round of the Arnold Palmer Invitational on the PGA Tour, 5 shots off the lead. The 21-year-old Calvary alum bogeyed his first 2 holes but rallied nicely. The Mudbugs face Odessa tonight and tomorrow night on George's Pond inside Hirsch Coliseum. The puck drops at 7:11 p.m. On the diamond, LSU opens SEC play tonight against Missouri. First pitch at Alex Buck Stadium, 6:30. And in the NCAA tournament, 13th-seeded Buffalo waxed 4th-seeded Arizona in the biggest upset of the day. The SEC started strong. Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, and Florida all won. Missouri, Auburn, Arkansas, and Texas A&M play today. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
Twenty-three past 8 o'clock, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Robert and Erin. Erin back on Monday. Attorney Jack Bailey is here talking about, good heavens, a whole slew of stuff. But you ended the last segment with, and we were talking about tariffs and trade wars and how that literally has, if we use the term affected, it seems such an understatement. People in Caddo and Bossier Parish over the last, you said, 40 years. You ended the segment saying, for 40 years, for people who are looking at Trump's actions via tariffs over the last couple of weeks, the ones he's instituted, this president is going to start a trade war. What you said was, there's been a trade war going on in this world for 40 years.
We just hadn't been fighting it.
America just has ignored it. Expound on that a little bit.
Foreign countries have been having predatory trade practices against the United States since the 1960s. Last time I was here, you got some emails and texts when I talked about Boeing and Airbus. So I want to tell you what the facts are. So the WTO, the World Trade Organization, which is no friend of the United States, they ruled that the European Union had illegally given Airbus over $22 billion of illegal subsidies, including $15 billion of launch aid. That was just for one airplane, the A350. In September of 2016, the WTO confirmed that the European governments not only had failed to meet the compliance deadline to remedy the past subsidies, but had given an additional $5 billion in launch aid for the A350. Now,
so what effect did this have specifically on airplane manufacturers in the United States?
Well, you see any Lockheed aircraft out there anymore? You see any McDonnell Douglas aircraft anymore? And here's what happened. Before the launch of Airbus, the three major U.S. manufacturers of passenger airplanes with no government subsidies controlled over 80% of passenger jet sales in the world. We are now less than 50%. Airbus itself controls over 50% of sales. Now, they have done nothing about over $22 billion worth of EU subsidies. Now, let me tell you what the United States does. So Airbus filed a countervailing claim saying that, well, Boeing's military contracts had an indirect subsidy effect on their passenger aircraft. So the WTO finds that the U.S. military program helped with management cost and facility cost. so that we had $3.25 billion of illegal costs. The World Trade Organization is certified that we've already corrected that, except for approximately $700 million. So here we are, we're following the rules of the WTO. The WTO is supposed to protect us, yet the WTO has said that Airbus got over $22 billion worth of EU subsidies that were illegal, and the EU hadn't done anything about it.
So let's bring this back home just a little bit. So over X number of years, and even a couple of weeks ago, you see not only Democrats saying Trump's we can't, it'll start a trade war. Trump's a crazy man. Not only Democrats, his opponents say that, but a lot of Republicans say that. And it's this kind of government Pontius Pilate washing their hands of I don't want to have anything to do. I'm not going to protect my American workers. We are a microcosm of this macro indifference on a government level. Why is that?
Because we don't live in a republic anymore. We live in a corporate oligarchy. We have had complete, total regulatory capture of the United States government by international corporations. And one of the things most American citizens
now pardon me. You and I, we talk about this all the time. We read about this all the time. You can find evidence of this. And yet the average guy or gal out there, they're going, what kind of tinfoil hat stuff is that?
Well, it's not. It's just facts. And here's the problem. Republics don't work if you don't have an informed citizenry. And what the citizenry doesn't know is foreign governments lobby the United States government. Foreign manufacturers hire lobbyists that make campaign contributions in Congress. The lobbyists help write the administrative laws. So since this has been going on since 1979, the United States has lost over 7.5 million jobs in manufacturing. And so what effect does that have? Well, this is the United States Government Bureau of Labor Statistics, and here's what they say. The real median household income of Americans who have completed high school peaked in the 1970s and has been steadily decreasing since then. The real median household income of an American householder who has completed 4 years of high school in 1973 was over $56,000 in constant 2013 dollars. By 2013, it had dropped by over $16,000 or 29%. So that's the effect. And what you have had is we're not playing the game, and our laws allow foreign governments and foreign corporations to capture our Congress.
Got to wrap it up here in just about a minute. So, in effect, what you're telling me is that the biggest tragedy of all this is that over the last 2 or 3 or 4 decades, we haven't lost. We have literally given it away on a national level, and all these jobs in Shreveport in the last 30 or 35 years on a local level. We haven't fought. Our government has not fought. We've given it away.
It's worse than that, Bob. The government has had positive programs in effect to actually encourage the shipping of jobs overseas. And as an example, there was a deliberate program to alter trade policies to send 2 to 3 million jobs to China because our government's policy was, well, if we help them turn into a capitalistic society, well, they'll be our friend. Well, how did that work out for us? Now what we're confronting is a resurgent communist Chinese government. Now we got to spend money confronting their military. Look what they're doing in the South China Sea. So if you don't look out for yourself, do you really think foreign governments and foreign corporations are going to look out for us?
And so suddenly you've got Donald Trump, who is looking out for the American worker, and from all halls of the deep state, as it is referred, he in fact must be destroyed.
The Republican Party isn't listening to Abraham Lincoln, are they?
Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty, she's back on Monday. Attorney Jack Bailey, thank you very much as always. This will all be up on the website just a bit later, as we can dissect it on our own. Matt has local news just a couple of seconds away. Right now, traffic update. Ruben's ready.
The intersection at East Kings Highway and Dixie Gardens Drive is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Shed Road near Swan Lake Spur and Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast calls for the threat of a heavy thunderstorm today, otherwise mostly cloudy, high 82. Partly to mostly cloudy, low 63 tonight. Thunder shower to start tomorrow, then cloudy and warm, high 84. With your AccuWeather.com forecasts, I'm Bill Degger.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
A big-budget Netflix movie will begin filming in Shreveport on Monday. The Highwaymen stars Kevin Costner and Woody Harrelson and chronicles the journey of two Texas Rangers on the hunt for Bonnie and Clyde. While the majority of the film was shot down south, locals in the film industry hope the big-budget project will give life to Northwest Louisiana's struggling film industry. Gunshots interrupt a high school lacrosse game in Shreveport. According to police, a gunfight took place near Caddo Parish Magnet High School last night. A Pontiac Grand Am was struck by bullets and ultimately crashed into a light pole close to the school's campus. Police have detained one juvenile that may be connected to the shooting, but are searching for several other suspects. The DeSoto Parish Sheriff Rodney Arbuckle has announced his retirement effective today. Arbuckle has been in law enforcement for over 3 decades, including spending the last 17 years as sheriff of DeSoto Parish. In a statement, Arbuckle says that his son is now practicing law in the area, including criminal cases, and does not want any appearance of conflict of interest. Chief Deputy Jason Richardson will be appointed sheriff as soon as Arbuckle retires. 4 indicted in LSU hazing death. Jeff Palermo has that story.
Only one of them is facing a felony charge in the death of Maxwell Groover, and that's Matthew Nakan, who was indicted on negligent homicide. 3 others were indicted on a misdemeanor charge of hazing.
They don't face more than 30 days in jail on those hazing counts.
That's Loyola University law professor Dane Cialino, who says since grand jury proceedings are not public, it remains a mystery on why the panel declined to indict 5 other people that were presented to the jury.
The DA can certainly point to the grand jury as making these difficult charging decisions.
I'm Jeff Palermo.
Shreveport police have issued an arrest warrant for a man they believe to be connected with a near-fatal stabbing. Damian Updike is wanted for attempted first-degree murder after 2 women suffered life-threatening wounds during a violent stabbing in the wee hours of Tuesday morning. Brian Todd has already been apprehended for his part of the violent encounter. Police say they are also searching for a 3rd man who may have been involved in the stabbing. With the future of TOPS in doubt due to Louisiana's fiscal cliff, one local college is vowing to honor all awards for the 2018-2019 school year. Centenary College says they will honor the full TOPS scholarship amount regardless of what the legislature does during the regular session. This is the 3rd consecutive year the Shreveport University has committed to honor TOPS scholarships despite cuts to the program by lawmakers. Saints and Pelicans owner Tom Benson has passed away at the age of 90. Benson is the only person to ever own 2 professional sports teams in their hometown. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
1017 FM, 710 Keel. A little rainy outside. Traffic update. Ruben's ready.
The intersection at East Kings Highway and Dixie Gardens Drive is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Shed Road near Swan Lake Spur in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast calls for the threat of a heavy thunderstorm today, otherwise mostly cloudy, high 82. Partly to mostly cloudy, low 63 tonight. Thunder shower to start tomorrow, then cloudy and warm, high 84. With your AccuWeather.com forecasts, I'm Bill Degger.
There's usually something over the course of the morning. 1017 FM and 710 Keel. Robert, Erin, 841. Usually something over the course of the morning that always raises someone's ire. And this morning it seems to have turned out to be the Tom Benson stuff. And I just, look, the gentleman has passed away. May he rest in peace. I'm sure he had his excellent qualities. But for him to be, God, I do sound like a horrible person repeating this.
No.
But the point was that 10 or 12 years ago, he was ready to move. He kept there. The blink, he was a blink of an eye away from moving the Saints to San Antonio.
And people in this state had their pitchforks out and were ready to riot.
And it looked for a while as though the Vikings may have been ready to leave Minnesota. Mm-hmm. He was looking, I mean, he was exploring every other alternative.
He did everything but sign the papers in San Antonio
to move the Saints out of New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
And now it post death, pardon me, that sounds just nasty, that he's being the man who saved the Saints. Well, he kept them in New Orleans because the better business opportunity was to stay in New Orleans.
Bob, what did I tell you earlier?
Speaking, what was that, buddy?
Well, that, no one's a jerk when they die. Everybody, oh, I miss him so much, blah, 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 unless your name is Charles Manson. Then you're kind of
speaking of business and business people, and this kind of got tossed around. I was playing golf yesterday, and the Toys R Us story came up. Well, first of all, let's do a little update. Toys R Us, yay or nay? We had the story earlier in the week that Toys R Us was going to close all 800 of its stores nationwide. Then the story broke about the time we got off the radio yesterday that they were going to try to maintain
a couple of hundred, but
at least a couple hundred of them.
According to reports, any plan they put together is just going to fail, and they're too far gone, as they would say.
What came up at golf yesterday was the same thing I had mentioned to you, and you rather easily slapped away, repudiated. And what somebody said at golf yesterday talking about Toys R Us. And speaking of, to be more specific, the East Texas, they're having a
liquidation sale starting sometime soon, maybe even today or tomorrow.
Okay. So what somebody said to me was exactly what I had said to you. Was, well, Toys R Us closing 800 stores or however many it happens to be. And I said, There you go. Another brick and mortar company bites the dust. Thank you, Amazon. And I had said that to you a couple of days ago, that with the growing trend of people buying more and more and more online, that this is just another example of a store unable to compete with a wider selection and cheaper prices via the internet. And you said, not exactly.
There are businesses out there today that have been around for 50 years, 100 years, that are still succeeding and doing well in spite of Amazon.
What Matt said was, and I want you to explain this to everybody, because what you had said to me a couple of days ago was Toys R Us and a lot of other stores, but in this instance, specifically Toys R Us, you said they were operating under a 1970s business model.
That's it.
What does that mean? What did they do, or more, what did they fail to do?
Well, if you look at Toys R Us stores, whether you're talking about the one in Bossier or wherever, they're these giant buildings with huge inventories. You got all this staff that you have to worry about because, Toys R Us stores are well-staffed. They don't really have a digital presence, or not up until, recently.
Well, hold on, let's deal with the physical location, the brick and mortar, as they say. If you're competing with other stores locally, if you're competing with Amazon online, doesn't a large inventory, isn't that to your benefit? Doesn't that help you?
Well, here's what you have to remember. More people are shopping digitally. That is absolutely true. So there's two things you need to do. Have a strong digital presence, a digital store where you can have less in a physical plant, a physical building, a brick and mortar store, but can still operate and have, large sums. They didn't do that very well.
So what did Toys R Us as a corporate entity? You always say most people don't know what they don't know. What didn't they know that they didn't know?
Well, they just kind of went, this internet thing, that'll pass. And then as, Amazon grew and other companies, whether you're looking at JCPenney's or whatever company you want to choose, there were several of them that went, this internet thing's a good idea, and started online stores and started getting into that market and making themselves available in places where people are shopping. Toys R Us didn't find their niche market. They just stuck to the same old thing they've always done. They didn't change their business model whatsoever. And you know what? The world passed them by, and now they're, maybe we can save it. It's too late.
It's something that you have said a lot over the last, year or 18 months or longer. And one of the things that has changed recently with it's Google and Facebook and all of them. I don't mean to lump everybody into one great big digital barrel, but their algorithms, their methodology is constantly changing. And what you had said is that now when you do a Google search, you almost get somebody's Facebook page before you get their actual website.
If you go to Google, you will get, the little Google box of blank stores located here, and right underneath that is their Facebook page. Then you might see their website next thing down. So
why has that happened? Just because of
it's just a changing world. It's just that's what people are looking for. Because the way the Google algorithm works, not to get too in depth, is it goes on basically like in Shreveport Bossier, all the people that search for this, 80% of them click on this link.
It
so
responds
that's what we
to
move.
Vox Populi, if you will.
Yeah. So Facebook, one of the most popular platforms in the world, if you're not there, you're dead. And if you're not using and constantly updating and feeding that machine new information, you're dead in the water.
So it's basically the new Yellow Pages. It has ceased to become the cool place for kids. It is becoming Facebook, more and more a commercial endeavor.
Yeah, I mean, if you pick any business you want, whatever one you prefer, when you go there, there's a little review box. You'll see like some stores have a shop where you can actually look and see what's at the physical plant, so you can window shop basically from your house before going.
An interesting point you make. In this rapidly evolving digital world where there are influentially shrinking daily newspapers and shrinking local news broadcasts, that businesses are becoming their own daily newspaper, that they are becoming their own classified ad. They are becoming their own TV station, that they have the opportunity to tell their own story, and many fail to do it.
If you own a business and you don't have a media person working for you, you're an idiot, because this is the perfect scenario. You get to control your own narrative. Yes, we have the greatest deals. Here, you can see them. Look how cool our store looks. I mean, you can literally control every aspect of your advertisement in real time. Hey, we got this great deal on this new Rolex. And you got to be an idiot not to do that.
And pardon me, unlike Yellow Pages or classified ads in newspapers or fill in the blank of yesteryear, this new, it's absolutely free.
You can spend money, but you can do it for free with minimal effort. All you have to do is try and actually keep up with some information. And like I said, you have to be a moron not to do it and not have a guy on your staff that knows how.
Yeah, tell us what you really think. 849, 1017 FM, 710 KEEL. Here's your KeelAccuWeather.com forecast. Kind of cloudy and rainy today. Got a chance of rain tomorrow, too. High today's going to be in the 70s. Right now, it is 63.
You're listening to American Ground Radio's Morning Minute.
Russia apparently used nerve agents to poison 2 former Russians inside British soil.
And earlier this week, U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, said that New York City could actually be the next site of a chemical assassination attempt if world leaders fail to punish Russia for its alleged role in poisoning a former spy in the UK.
The world needs to understand that Russia is acting more and more like the Soviet Union every day, and that is not a good thing.
American Ground Radio, where building a better America begins with building a better us. Return each weeknight from 6 to 7 p.m. with Louis R. Abalone and Stephen Parr on 1017 FM and 710 KEEL, and streaming live at KeelNews.com.
8:55, Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL app's a free download, office furniture source. Luckily, in the McCarty absence this week, the producer fingers of Matt Parker didn't have to hit the Jack Spring electric shockbuster button.
I almost had to dump you once.
She'll be back. Yeah, that was more of an emotional thing. Erin's back on Monday. She won't bring pictures back. She'll tell us what an awesome time she had. But as we discussed this in the digital age, she won't share anything with us. We got about 30 seconds. Best part of the week. What did you like the most?
I like yelling about stuff.
You just did call a lot of people a moron in that last segment.
Well, I've done that a lot this week. The Saints management team, the owners of businesses.
And you know the best part about this is when you go off on these things, when you go off on Tops, or the Drew Brees contract, or people not using digital media to promote and sell their product and failing and losing money and people losing jobs as a result. Best of all, when you go off on the folks for that, I'm the one that takes all the flack.
That's my favorite part, really.
On that upbeat note, getting out of here early. Back Monday morning, 6 till 9. Kim Commando's on the way right now on KEEL.
Here's a story that anyone with a pacemaker needs to know. And I'll stress that it's not something to hit the panic button over, at least not yet. Kim Commando with your Friday Consumer Tech Update. The Royal Academy of Engineering is a prestigious British organization composed of UK's leading engineers from all sciences. So when they issue a study, it's worth our attention, especially this one. The Academy says that hackers now pose a serious threat to internet health devices. MRI scanners are now vulnerable. If hacked, their images could hide serious health problems. And drug pumps, if hacked, they could deliver an overdose. But most alarming is that pacemakers, which have been internet connected for some time, could be turned off by hackers. Now, we've known that these devices have been theoretically vulnerable for some time, but this warning centers on the fact that, even though we know, between the hospitals and the manufacturers, no one's really taking the threat seriously. Now, don't hit the panic button, but do be aware of the dangers. I'm Kim Commando. Time once again here on the Kim Commando Show to talk about what's on the menu at my home this coming week. Tuesday is pasta night, and with our friends at HelloFresh, it's going to be out of this world. This one is from the HelloFresh Hall of Fame. The one-pan orzo Italiano with spicy chicken sausage, tomatoes, baby spinach, mozzarella and Parmesan, breadcrumbs, and just a touch of garlic, lemon, and parsley. The orzo pasta is cooked risotto style, minimum water to make it al dente, and everything's made in a single pan. You'll get to the plate in just 30 minutes. Of course, HelloFresh always provides the healthiest, freshest ingredients in just the right quantities delivered straight to your door. Plus, there's free shipping and $30 off your first HelloFresh meal. Get started. You can do it right now. You're going to love HelloFresh. You get free shipping and, don't forget, $30 off your first HelloFresh meal. HelloFresh.com/Kim for $30 off. HelloFresh.com/Kim.
KEEL's Top Cop. It's our salute to area law enforcement officers who go above and beyond the call of duty. We want you to send us stories of officers who deserve an extra pat on the back. Maybe an officer changed your tire or spent extra time talking to your youngster. We even want to know about officers who do good deeds while off duty. Let us share these great stories, but we need to know about them. If you want to say thanks to a police officer, deputy, or state trooper, log on to KEELnews.com and click on the Top Cop link. Download the KEEL app on your phone and click on Submit Photo or Video. Then tell us your story. We say thanks with KEEL's Top Cop, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
8:59, Fox News on the way, then Moon Griffon at about 9:05 or so. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, traffic updates.
The intersection at East Kings Highway and Dixie Gardens Drive is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Shed Road near Swan Lake Spur in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast calls for clouds today with a shower or a heavy thunderstorm. The high 82, partly cloudy, low 63 tonight. Another thunder shower tomorrow morning, then partly sunny and warm, high 84. With your AccuWeather.com forecasts, I'm Bill Degger.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710